Hi guys, it's Lindsay and welcome back to Blushing Pink Stitches. This is Flosstube number 13 and it is Saturday the 25th, I think, of June. I was about 5 or 6 minutes into the video when I realised that I hadn't actually pressed record. So I've done like a whole spiel and now I'm having to press play again. Yeah, we've got quite a few things to talk about in this video. I'm going to do a bit of a life update. I've got 2 FFOs, 1 other finish. I'm going to show you my whips, and then I've got a couple of other things that I want to show you, talk to you about, that sort of thing. First of all, I'm not wearing any makeup today. I decided this morning that I didn't want to put any on. I've kind of got to the point where makeup is kind of irritating. I just don't like the feel of it on my face all of the time. I wear it to work, and I don't know whether I'm going to be brave enough not to wear it to work. But for example, I was thinking I've run out of hairspray as well, and so my hair's looking a little bit wild, but whatever. But I thought this morning, right, I'll just put makeup on for my video and then I'll take it back off again afterwards. And then I was sort of thinking, what's the point in doing that? Yeah, it's just not me then, is it really? So I decided to embrace it. I'm just gonna not wear it. I think I look okay. And yeah, this is what makes me feel comfortable at this particular point. So we're gonna roll with it. I think it's because I spent so much time during my pregnancy not wearing it because A, we're in lockdown and so we weren't going out anywhere, but B, I felt so ill all of the time. I really didn't have any inclination to put makeup on. And during my maternity leave, I just didn't have time most of the time. I mean, we spent a lot of time indoors anyway. It was the second lockdown for part of my maternity leave. And yeah, I barely had time sometimes for a shower, so makeup was not going to be part of the mix. So I think I kind of got used to not wearing makeup, and therefore, yeah, I'm just out of the habit of wearing it basically. Like I said, I do wear it to work, but I'm not going to worry about it too much now. So we're going with it. Bit of a life update. It's been a weird couple of weeks. My daughter has chickenpox. So for those of you that don't know, my daughter has just turned 19 months. So it came as a bit of a shock when I found sort of spots all over her and sort of worked out with the doctor that it was chickenpox. Because she doesn't go to nursery, you know, I pulled her out of nursery a few months ago, and so I was sort of expecting her to get chickenpox once she got to primary school. But no, she picked it up. So yeah, we've had a week of it. It's not been as bad as I thought it was. She has been a bit irritable at times, you know, but she hasn't really done an awful lot of scratch. I've not caught her scratching. She has noticed that she has spots. And for example, she hasn't wanted to get in the bath a couple of days this week. Just the water on her skin is clearly irritating her. So yeah, we've had a couple of days of not having a bath, or I think the first day we managed to wash her hair and then she got out. The second day she wouldn't even sit down. And then yesterday she got in and sat down, we managed to wash her hair again, and then she wanted to get out. So yeah, but you know, whatever, we'll go with it. She's not dirty or anything. So yeah. So she's been okay. They're starting to scab over now, so it means that, you know, she's getting over it, which again is quite quick really for chickenpox. Sometimes, you know, you could be 2 or 3 weeks at home and it takes a while to clear up. But yeah, they're mostly scabbing over now, so I think in the next few days I should be able to start taking her out again. But yeah, so it's been a bit of a week up. I haven't replied to some people's comments, which is not like me, just because it has been a bit crazy and I've been quite tired and things like that. So I do apologise, and I will reply to those comments in the next couple of days, because I really appreciate when people do leave me comments, and I like chatting to you guys about stuff. So yeah, we'll get back to doing that over the next couple of days. So let's just get into the stitching, because there's nothing really else life-wise that I can think of that that's been going on. So anyway, I've got 2 FFOs, and they were the projects that I was working on for a friend's children's christening, which is happening tomorrow. We're not going because Bella does have chickenpox, but yeah, obviously I was doing them anyway. So this is the first one. These are in sort of shadow boxes that I bought from Hobbycraft. There's a bit of a glare. I'll bring it up close so you can see the stitching. They're not perfectly framed. I think I'm getting better at it, but there's still a long way for me to go. But they look fine. So that's the first one, and then obviously I've got the identical project, but in pink for her daughter. Yeah. So I'm really pleased with those. I'm hoping she really likes them. You know, it's the sort of thing that you want to be a bit of an heirloom, really. So where can I put these that they won't get damaged? Let's put them on the windowsill. Oh, there we go. Yeah, so I completed those, so I was really happy with that. In the end, it took me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days of stitching. Which obviously some of those days I have her nap times, and some of those days I just have evenings when she's asleep. So I didn't think that was too bad. It was quite a quick pattern to stitch up. The other finish that I have is this, which is the last candy heart that I had to do. I started these candy hearts from it's a free pattern from Fat Quarter Shop during May, during Stitch Mania, and I had one left to do, so I finished it. You'll have to excuse the chocolate marks. There's one there and then this one on the back. That's a lesson in not eating while you're stitching, especially in the summer when chocolate melts, basically. So and these will be made into pillows, and you certainly won't be able to see that, and then I'll get that out, that'll be fine. So yeah, this is the last one. So I've got all 5 of them here. So I've got the pink one, the purple one, the yellow one, the green one, and the blue one. So yeah, I'm planning on turning those into little pillows to put out for Valentine's Day. I found some sort of love heart material on eBay, which I'm going to get. And I'll just make those into little pillows to put in my tray in my hallway. So I'm really, really pleased with those. Okay, so let's talk about whips. So firstly, in this bag, which was made for me by my friend Megan, the beautiful handmade project bag, is my Fruits of Plenty by Modern Folk Embroidery. I didn't have it in this project bag, and I decided this is such a nice project bag, I need to get it out and actually use it, and let's put a project in there that is really special and I'm going to spend a lot of time on. So I put this one in there. And I have finished the June portion of the pattern. So I'll just show you the June bit. So much material. Let's just fold this over. So the June bit was this bit here. So that's now all done. This was quite a lot of stitching, but once this was done, actually the rest of it went quite quickly. It's looking really good, and then this is the whole of it all together. So that is 50% complete now. which I'm so pleased with. So I'll just bring it up close so you can see some of the stitching in a bit more detail. Yeah, this is like one of my favourite projects. It's just so great. This is being stitched on a 32 count white linen from Zweigart, and I'm using I should know this off by heart by now, I said that last time, DMC 3750 and 932 as the colours on there. So yeah, plug away at that again next month. I bought July's bit, that's part of my haul, although I didn't get it out. I don't even bother printing them out now, because I just use I use an app called Markup RXP, which I have on my iPad, to mark it up, basically, to help me see where my progress is. I don't have Pattern Keeper because I don't have an Android tablet, and I was thinking about getting it, but I heard a little whisper that it might be ready to come out on Apple soon, on iOS. So if you guys know anything about that, let me know, because if we're talking about like in the next 6 months maybe, then I will hold off in getting it. But Markup RXP is, I think, a good alternative. I mean, I've not used Pattern Keeper. They have updated it recently, so it has some more features on it. It can be a bit glitchy, and glitchy is the wrong word, like it doesn't always identify the symbols, all the symbols that you want. So you can highlight symbols and then it will highlight the other ones, but it doesn't highlight all of them in the pattern. Like there are some that it doesn't recognise even when you play around with the symbol detection bar. So yeah, and sometimes it doesn't line up properly and you have to play around with certain things. I don't know, like it, yeah. But it is good. It is helping me keep track of, well, this next project that I'm going to show you. I started my first Heaven and Earth design. So I'm pretty sure that was in the title of the video. So I'm just going to get rid of this post-it note. So I started Quick Stitch Blue Butterfly, artwork by Ching Chao Kuik, probably pronounced that wrong, and it's obviously charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. So it's a little one, it's only 150 by 108 stitches, but I decided that I wanted to start it in June. So I'm going to show you how far I have got, and then I'll show you what I'm doing in terms of organising the project. Let me just have a little sip of my drink. I can feel my tummy starting to rumble. I haven't had any lunch, and so I have to have some afterwards. So I'm stitching this on 25 count even weave. It's a Lugana. I didn't go for the gridded because it was a smaller design. I don't know, I might try gridded later, but I'm doing it 1/1. I've never done 1/1 before. I've never stitched with one strand before, and I've never stitched over one fabric square on such a small count, but it's going okay. So there's quite a lot of fabric here, and I don't need all of this fabric, but I've learnt my lesson in terms of cutting stuff before you start a project. Sometimes I'm not great at that, so I just thought I'm not going to cut it. So this is how far I have got. What's that? That's a little bit of fluff. It's not chocolate. This is how far I was able to get. This is about 8%. I'll just bring it in a bit closer so you can see all those tiny, tiny stitches. I love this. Oh, I didn't know how I was going to feel about a full coverage, but it's addictive. I've set myself a goal of doing 100 stitches a day, and I have kept up with that. It is harder on a day where I have work, so I have less stitching times. I find that once I've done my 100 stitches on this, I'm quite tired by that point, so I don't really get a lot of stitching done on other things, but I'm fine with that. I did consider, oh, maybe I should do 50 stitches on the day that I work, but I just love it how it's coming together. I mean, just look at it, it's just so lovely. I'm doing a bit of a cross-country method. So I mentioned that I wanted to try Sarah from Stitching Mummy's typewriter method, and I'm sort of doing that and sort of doing a bit of cross-country as well. So what I'm doing is picking the stitch that is the topmost leftmost in a 10 by 10 square, and then going across the 10 by 10 squares and then coming back across, because this is like the flower is here, then there are some leaves, like, so there are blocks of the same sort of colour family that's kind of working with this, and then kind of doing that until the thread runs out, or until I've completed 100 stitches. And I might park it at that point, or I might just finish the thread and then go back and do that colour in the remaining bits afterwards. But that's kind of how it's going. I've got a couple of colours up here that I'm missing, so that's why there are these gaps. But otherwise, it's going so well. It's looking so good. And I'm not worrying about my back. So this is what the back looks like. But it's full coverage, so you're not going to see the back. And it's a bit sort of bulky, but again, it doesn't matter. So having the freedom just to kind of not worry about what your back looks like is brilliant. So yeah, I'm absolutely loving this. According to Markup RXP, I'm going to be done with this towards the end of November. So I sort of had a target to get this done by the end of the year. I'm on track to do that at the moment. So I thought I'd show you kind of my method for organising floss. So what I have in here is I bought a floss box especially for all of the colours, and this is not all of the colours. There are 90 colours in this pattern, but I haven't bobbinated the other ones yet as part of my haul. So I have all of the floss on bobbins in one of these organisers, and this fits in the project bag. And then what I've been doing is I've been cutting a length. When I start a colour, I've been cutting a length of that colour and then putting it onto a thread drop, and then just working off of the thread drop. And what I've been doing is putting not only the DMC numbers on there, but also the symbol as well, so I can flick through these and see which one I need. And these are floss drops that I just made myself, and I made them based on the pattern, so the finished picture, and I'm really, really pleased with those. And then I just take a length of thread with my needle off of the floss drop, work with that, and then when this runs out, when this, for example, there's no more floss on this card, I'll just replace it with another length in there. And I think that's really manageable for me at the moment. Yeah, so that's kind of how I'm working it. I'd be really interested to know if you guys do full coverage, or just in general, how do you organise your floss in your projects? Do you use thread drops? Do you bobbinate? Do you use another system? Yeah, systems kind of evolve as you go on, and I think for this particular project, because there's so many colours, it's kind of nice to have a system that is going to work for you and it's not going to be lots of faffy. Because what I was thinking was, every time I switch colour, I don't want to be going through this box every single time, and cutting length off or unwinding the thread that's off the bobbin or whatever it might be. So this is just easier. So that's how I've organised that basically. And like I said, I'm loving working with it. It's going really well so far. Yeah, I was thinking maybe I should get a special project bag for my full coverage, just because, again, like the Fruits of Plenty, it's a pattern that I'm going to be working with for a long time. But yeah, so I may do that, but it's fitting in one of my A4 project bags, even with the bobbin case in it. So yeah, that's really good. So that's that. Okay, then this whip. So I posted on Instagram about this. I pulled out Christmas birds by Our Forest Embroidery. God, this looks dreadful. This is what it's going to look like when it's finished. And I was working on finishing this page. So I pulled it out and I was like, oh, okay, I'll finish this motif down here. And then I've only got a few things left to do on this page. However, I discovered that it didn't line up with what was underneath it. So let me show you. So yeah, I don't know, you are going to be able to tell. This is supposed to line up with the edge of that. And it is so off, it's unbelievable. And I just thought that there was no way that I was going to be able to fudge this. And to be honest, I don't really want to fudge it. You know, you put so much time and effort into it. So I basically ordered a new piece of material. And someone on Instagram that follows me messaged me and said, oh, why can't you unpick this and then do something else here that will make this line up? And I could do that, but it's so off that, and I don't really have a lot of experience with, you know, charting things myself or whatever. I just don't have the confidence to do that. So I was like, I'm just going to start again. And I think this project was a bit hairy from the start in terms of I cut the fabric and I cut it a little bit smaller than I would have liked it. And so rather than starting in the corner like I wanted to, I had to start in the middle. And I think starting in the middle in this project didn't help me in terms of counting and things. So I got my new piece of fabric. It's the same. I got it from Patchwork Rabbit. It's exactly the same, although there is a bit of a colour difference. This looks darker, but only by a little bit. So it's 32 count summer khaki from Zweigart. It's a linen. Patchwork Rabbit are a UK, they have a physical shop in the UK and they also sell online as well. They have great service. Usually I'll order something one day and it will be dispatched that afternoon and then I'll get it over the next 1 or 2 days. It's so quick. Really reasonable shipping as well. I would highly recommend them. They have a really wide selection of fabrics and threads and patterns, and they do lots of other things. Like I got the floss box for my Heaven and Earth design from there. They do lots of other accessories. Highly recommend. So what I'm doing with that is I've decided that this is going back in my kitted section in my cupboard. And I'm going to restart this another time, and probably more towards Christmas. Yeah, so that's what I'm doing with that. So that's going down there. Then I worked on Hello Sunshine by Caterpillar Cross Stitch. So let me just take this out of here. I'm on the wrong page. This is what it's going to look like when it's finished. This is one of their seasonal trees. And I didn't get loads done on this. This is one of those things where I was tired and I'd had work that day. But I was working on the grass and I filled in the darker brown on the tree, and then I was working on the grass. And actually I made a mistake when I stitched these flamingo legs last. There wasn't enough stitches up here. There was 4 and there should be 5. So I had to rip all of this out. And then put it back in again. So yeah, and the grass is a lot of stitching. So yeah, managed to do that. I do want to talk to you about my rotation. I'm going to write it down because otherwise, rotation. I won't talk to you about it, I'll forget about it. So let's just put this back in here. I'm really enjoying this project. It's just that particular bit of grass was taking a while, and like I say, the 2 days that I was working on it, I was working on those days and therefore I was quite tired in the evening. Okay, that's that one. What was next? Okay, then I worked a little bit, just a little bit, on 2x2 by the Prairie Schooler, and I decided to start Noah's Ark. Didn't get very far. I've still got my needle in there, so this is how far I got. I'm just working on the actual boat, which majority of it is the boat anyway, but there's a lot of stitching in that boat. It's quite nice stitching because it's blocky stitching, so you don't really have to think too much about it. But yeah, there's not much to see on that, not much progress at all. Bend this a little bit. Here we go. I made a working copy of the pattern just so that I could highlight where I was, and that was working well for that. Okay, and then last two projects that I've worked on. I started working on this yesterday. So this is the Fox by Cottage Garden Samplings. And here he is. So yesterday I finished his tail, finished filling in his tail. I did this tree and a few of these snowflakes. So he's looking really good. I'm really pleased with him. His tail is lovely. It's a lot of stitching, but it's so good. So all I have left on this pattern is these two trees, these three trees, and then the snowflakes in between. Which you think, oh, that's not a lot of stitching, but trees, they take a while. They take a bit of concentration because they're not blocks. You have to think about where stuff goes. And I like to stitch in hand on it in, and you know, having to go hicklety picklety is not it doesn't go really quickly. But I'm hoping by the time that I see you next, he'll be done. Okay, and then the last thing I've got to show you is just a little project that I got free from the latest issue of CrossStitcher magazine. And this is the mini summer banner. I used to do magazine freebie kits all the time. But I really like the colours in this one. So, I've got quite far on it. I only started it yesterday. I've just been stitching it while she's awake and running around. Put this behind it so you can see. Yeah, that looks really good. So I've just got a few flowers to do here and then some back stitch and French knots. And that'll be finished. It does give you instructions on how to finish it in the thing. But I was thinking of putting some felt on the back of it and finishing it slightly differently. So yeah, I've got that one. So those are my whips. So I'm going to show you the haul that I've got. So I bought, this is a bag of DMC. It's, well, apart from 5 colours, it's the rest of the DMC that I need for my Quick Stitch Bee Butterfly. And the reason I don't have 5 is just because I happened to miss those out on the order, basically. I ordered from a website called Enchanted Needle. They are a UK-based company. I heard about them on Facebook. And their skeins of DMC are 71p each, which is fabulous. It's the cheapest that I've seen them. Not in the sale. In the sale somewhere is a bit different, but yeah, it's the cheapest I've seen them. Really fast shipping as well, and the shipping was reasonable. I think it was something like a couple of quid for shipping. So yeah, and she also does fabric as well, which I bought. A bit of fabric for this design here. Let's put this right back. This is Summer Splendour by Little House Needleworks. It's on like a tanny fabric, but I bought a piece of I think this is 16 count light blue Ada. Sorry for the crinkling. Because I thought that the colours would look really good on it. And actually, as part of my haul as well, these are from Patchwork Rabbit, I bought the classic Colourworks. So actually, I'm just missing one. I'm missing another green, which I'm waiting to go back in stock. But these are the colours. So I think they will look really nice on there, and that'll be really summery. So yeah, and the colours that you need for this are Antique Lace, Tennessee Red Clay, and English Ivy, Cocoa Bean, Bandana, and Hazelnut. And then I'm missing Bean Sprout, which I said I've put a little notification on. So I'll get that when it gets back in stock. So like I said, they also do pieces of fabric as well. Really, really reasonably priced. They don't, do they do linen? No, I don't think so. I think they do Ada. So good. I would highly recommend using those. I'll put a link to these websites down below, so you can check them out if you haven't used them. But yes, that was my haul from there. And then, like I said, I got the classic Colourworks from Patchwork Rabbit, along with a piece of linen, I think. Did I buy linen or even weave? So I wanted to kit up this project here. This is Pumpkin Spice by Shannon Christine Designs. In fact, these two, the two patterns that I've just showed you are both gifted to me by Vicky from the Virginia Stitcher. So I got a piece of 28 count light mocha Brittany New Garner. I thought I would do it on there. The colours would really pop against that. I got a fat quarter of that. They always come. The other thing about Patchwork Rabbit is they're really careful about like what packaging they use. So this is fully recyclable packaging. Yeah, it says, in fact, it says on the back, for our children's sake, this bag is 100% biodegradable, which I just think is just lovely that that there are more and more companies that are thinking about that. Yeah, so I bought that piece of fabric. And then the other things that I bought, Heaven and Earth Designs were having a summer solstice sale. So it's 50% off all of their patterns. So I just bought one. So now I have 4 Heaven and Earth patterns, one of which is in progress. This is Mini 4 Seasons. The artwork is by Jacket Yerka. I'm saying that wrong. But this is a pattern that Brenda from Handwork Maniac is working on. And you can turn it, obviously, depending on the season. And I just really like it. I think the colours are lovely. I think there's loads going on. So this is the biggest Heaven and Earth chart that I've got. It's 250 by 248. And I figured you could buy a frame and then put like one of the hooks on all 4 sides and then just hang it differently depending on the season. I think that'd be quite fun. So yeah, so I bought that. Then I bought a couple of kits. I wanted to try some Riolis kits and I had a bit of money, so I bought hedgehogs in lingonberries. I love these hedgehogs. It comes with 14 count white Ada. It's a wool acrylic blend thread on organiser cards and then a needle, so you can see all of the thread here. So I've not used a wool acrylic blend before, but yeah, I really liked those. They're so cute. And then the other one I'd had my eye on for a while, and this is part of a set of 3, which I want to get all 3 eventually, but I just went for this one for now. This is called Sakura Bridge. I'm in love with the colours. I love anything oriental as well. And the Japanese cherry blossom is just lovely. The other 2 patterns are actually on the back here. So it's this one here, and then the I can't remember the name of that mountain. It's ridiculous. I can't remember that, but anyway. And then this is also 14 count white Ada, and then it's anchor stranded cotton. And there are some beads in this one as well, and you get 2 needles. Presumably 1 needle is for beading and 1 is for stitching. So there's that one. And then lastly, I have a copy of CrossStitcher magazine, because my model stitch has finally been published in the magazine. So this is the July 2022 issue of CrossStitcher. It's issue 385, and I can finally show you what I stitched for the magazine. So this is it here. It is a hat sampler. Yeah, so it's lots of ladies wearing different hats. And there's some beading on there and some metallic thread. Yeah, so that is what I stitched. Like I said, it took me I said before, it took me a long time to do. So what does this say in here? How many hours does this say? Do they still put that on their projects? Well, I don't think they do actually. No, they used to put hours on there, but they don't do that now. But it did take a while to do, but I'm really pleased with how it turned out. And it's just lovely to have it in the magazine. And it's also on the front cover as well. So there's a little picture of it on the front cover here. So I am really looking forward to doing some more. I said to the lady that I wouldn't be available until the end of June, beginning of July, because of my marking. And my marking has been over for a couple of weeks now, but it's just nice to have a bit of a break. But yeah, I will look forward to doing some more things, hopefully some smaller projects as well as some bigger ones. But yeah, I've got that. I've got it physically, I've got it digitally. Yeah, I'm really, really pleased with that. It's a little bit of me out in print. Okay, a few things that I wanted to talk to you about. Firstly, I said to you in my last video that I wanted to start a kit in July, and I was going to get you guys to vote on which kit you thought I should start. I've acquired quite a few over the last few weeks, like for my birthday and stuff like that, and I want to start one of them basically. So I'm going to give you 3 options. What I would like you to do is put the number or the name of the pattern in the comments down below, and then next time I do a Flosstube, I'll have totted those up and I'll let you know which one won, and I will start that. It'll be sort of like the middle of July at that point, by the time I film again in a couple of weeks. So the first one is this one that I just showed you. So this will be number 1. This is Secura Bridge by Riolis. Does it say the artist's name on these? Oh, Anna Petrusin. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. So that's going to be number 1. Number 2 is going to be Spring Song by Magic Needle. This is a kit that Megan bought me for my birthday. So it's a couple of birds with really pretty flowers and their eggs in a nest. Does it say the name of the designer on here? Not that I can see. It might say it somewhere inside. Yeah, I don't know. But that's going to be number 2. So either put number 2 or Spring Song in the comments. And then number 3, this is a bit of a bigger one, is Daydreaming by Marejka. I think that's how you pronounce it. So this is the fox one that my mum bought me this one for my birthday. I love him. I love the flowers. The colours on this are so lovely. And this comes with what appear to be cotton threads. Yeah, and a piece of creamy Asia. So this is a full coverage design, so yeah, it's take me a bit longer to do. But those are your 3 options. So that's number 3, Daydreaming. So we've got number 1, Secura Bridge, number 2, Spring Song, and number 3, Daydreaming. So either put the number or the name of the pattern in your comments, and I will tot up the votes before my next Flosstube video and let you know which one and what I'm going to be starting. So that's that. Another thing that I wanted to talk to you about is I'm going to be starting another pattern in July, and I'm going to be starting the memory jars, summer memory jars pattern. This is by Susan Bates, but this is in the August 2018 CrossStitcher magazine. So I have this magazine digitally and then I just printed pages from it. So Lauren from Cross Stitch Bunny, I will leave a link to her channel down below. She is doing a sale for the jar pattern. So you can either do the summer jars or there's a Christmas jar pattern. You can buy the pattern on Susan Bates's Etsy shop. But I have actually got both patterns from a magazine. I can't remember the issue number of the Christmas one. But I have both of them anyway. So I need to buy, the sale starts on the 1st of July and it runs up until Christmas, I think, or up until like the end of November. And you have to do a jar every couple of weeks. I don't know whether I'm going to keep up with that. I'm not going to put any pressure on myself. And I was kind of thinking, should I do the Christmas one or should I do the summer one? But I'm not really feeling Christmas stuff at the moment. So I thought I would start the summer one. And this has got some really pretty jars on it. Like, I really like the Poppy Fields one. It's kind of hard to see. And I really like the Relaxing in the Garden one and the Balloon one. Some really pretty jars on here. So I'm going to be starting that with Lauren on the 1st of July. I need to get a piece of Ada and a few more DMC. So please feel free to join in. Like I said, I will leave a link to her channel down below. She talked about the stitch along in her last Flosstube video. And she has like a graphic with all of the dates on it. So yeah, do go and check that out. So that is a plan for next month. Two other things I wanted to talk to you about. First, just how my rotation is going. So I tried a new rotation this month in terms of switching between projects every 2 days. And going back and forth between Fruits of Plenty and a new project, and the Patter of Tiny Feet and a new project, because those were two that I really wanted to get done. It hasn't been too bad. I think because I've had Patter of Tiny Feet on the go, there hasn't been a lot of opportunity for other stitching until that was done. But also I kind of felt like there were some days where I didn't get much stitching done at all on the other projects that I'd chosen. Number one, because I wanted to do the 100 stitches on Quick Stitch Blue Butterfly. But also because, you know, there were days when I was tired after work and things like that. And so there wasn't a lot of progress after 2 days. So for example, 2x2 is a good example of that. There's hardly any progress really. So I've decided to tweak it for July. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to work on Fruits of Plenty every other, well, basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull something out, and I'm either going to choose it based on the spinning wheel, or I'm going to choose it just based on what I fancy. And I'm going to stitch on it until I've finished a particular bit of it. So for example, if I pull this out, I'm going to stitch on it until I've finished a jar. If I pull out, well, the fox should be finished. If I pull out 2x2, I'm going to stitch on it until I've finished a particular section of the arc. If I pull out Hello Sunshine, I'm going to stitch on it until I've finished all of the grass area, for example. And then I will move on to a next project, or pick up Fruits of Plenty and then go to a new project. I think that will suit me better because I will feel like I've actually achieved something, even though it's taken me a little bit more time. I've got more progress on something, and I think that's going to suit me an awful lot better. So yeah, I will let you know how that goes. The The other thing I wanted to talk to you about is I wanted to know whether any of you guys use any alternatives to DMC thread. So I've heard a few people on their channels and on Facebook groups that I belong to talk about using threads called CXC threads. They're a hell of a lot cheaper than DMC. So, you know, DMC, the cheapest I can get it is 71p a skein, but pretty typical price is 79p. Not buying it from Hobbycraft anymore because it's £1.30 a skein. That's ridiculous. But the CXC threads are 20 on a particular website called Cross and Crafts. They sell them for 25p a skein, and you can get a whole set of them which essentially mimic the colours of DMC for 40 quid or just under 40 quid. So they're basically a third of the price. And I put a little comment on one of the groups that I belong to on Facebook called Dizzy Stitches. It's Darren's group. You know, does anybody use these? How have they found them? They're so much cheaper. And a lot of people commented back saying they do all their full coverages using them. They can be a little bit more fuzzy than DMC, but the coverage is lovely. The only other thing to look out for is with a couple of the colours, they don't. You have to be careful that they are the right colours, because there's a couple of colours in the set that don't match the DMC. Hold on a second. Okay, sorry about that. My daughter has woken up. She hardly ever wakes up crying like that, but Stefan's gone to get her. So I'm just going to finish off my video basically. So yeah. So I was wondering if any of you guys have used any alternatives to DMC and what your opinions on them are. I was thinking of stitching a very small pattern in DMC and then in CXC and seeing what the difference was and doing a bit of a review on it on my channel, perhaps in my next video, or something like that. Like, is that something that you guys would be interested in? Just because, like, I personally do have to think about what I'm spending my money on, and like I'm buying an awful lot of DMC at the moment, so like I'm not one of these people that has a full set, and I have thought about, you know, should I just get a full set and stitch from the full set for every project that I have? I could do that. If that's something that you guys do, let me know. How does that work for you? But I suppose the other argument to that is that is the whole issue of dye lots. So if you're working with something that requires more than one skein of something, and then the second skein that you buy is a different dye lot to the first skein, is there going to be a colour difference? We're talking about much bigger projects here, obviously. So there's that kind of argument. So, but I am buying a lot of DMC at the moment, because what I've been doing is buying a set for that particular project. So like pulling it out of my stash, any that I have already that aren't in other projects, and then making a list of things that I don't have. So for example, for the 9 jars pattern, I have a post-it note on the front, and then I will put all of the colours that I need, and then I cross off the ones that I have, and the ones that have got boxes around them are just the ones that I need in the first jar, basically. And then I will just buy the ones that I need. And sometimes it'll be a while. I tend to do a DMC order at the beginning of the month once we've got paid. And then I won't buy any more DMC for the rest of the month. So yeah, I just want to know what your opinions are on that. Is that something that you'd be interested in seeing? Like, do you guys, what do you guys do with your threads? Like, that's what I want to know, basically. So yeah, I think that's everything. I did have a couple of Flosstuber shout outs, but this video is long enough as it is, and my daughter's awake. So yeah, I'm going to wrap this video up. I'm going to say wish you all a good couple of weeks. Happy stitching to you all, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.